I'm a technology education teacher and I love it. One of my biggest jobs, however, is to help students develop the spirit of invention and innovation. The problem, my students are skilled users of technology, but when it comes to talking about invention, they usually check out. According to a new study by the Kaiser Family Foundation, the average student spends up to 75 hours using media technology every week. That doesn't include the hour and a half spent text messaging each day and talking on the cell phone. They know how to use technology. What we need more of, however, are inventors and innovators of technology. We all know that most teenagers are comfortable with technology, but mainly as users. Some of them, I think, believe that it's just too difficult to understand technology. The question then is how do we turn a generation of technology users into technology innovators and inventors? Students must consider what it means to be a creator and an innovator of technology. I believe that there are two very important concepts that every student must learn before even talking about how technology is created. First, that technology is understandable, and second, that genius is attainable. So let's begin by preparing the soil. Before students can learn, teachers must first demystify technology. We must help them see that technology, no matter what it is understandable. We don't have to be rocket scientists. What we really need is time. How often have you heard somebody say that technology is just too difficult to understand? I've had students say this all the time. Before many people even give technology a chance, they already have preconceived notions. But let's first start with a familiar technology, the computer. The computer is really just a machine that's made up of parts. One of these parts is called a microprocessor. The microprocessor, the microchip, is just full of tiny little switches. Millions and sometimes billions of little switches. Each of these switches tells something to turn on or to turn off. The language that computers use is called binary language. It's made up of just ones and zeros. The ones will tell a switch to turn on, and the zeros, you guessed it, tell switches how to turn off. It's basically that simple. So really the key is time. What we need to do is spend more time with students, helping them to understand certain technologies so that they build a confidence within themselves. The middle school philosophy is to give students a broad educational experience, and this is good. However, there does need to be enough time to demystify technology so that students might want to try creating some of their own. Second, genius is attainable. Doesn't it seem like the word genius is just thrown around so loosely? I believe that what we need to do is to get students to understand what genius really means. Thomas Edison, one of the great inventors, said this. He said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If Edison was a true genius, he would have woke up the next morning and having invented the light bulb. And that's sometimes the problem, is that people like Edison and Ford and Da Vinci, these people, we place up on such high pedestals. We almost treat them like gods. In fact, I read a book a few years ago called How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci. Great book. Read it 3 times, but in one portion he says this when talking about a certain characteristic. He says that Leonardo probably had possessed more of this trait than anyone who has ever lived. Interesting. Usually a superhero does not appear until the world really needs one. Was Da Vinci a superhero? Was he a god? Or was he just in the right place at the right time? A man by the name of Napoleon Hill studied Thomas Edison and Ford and a whole bunch of different successful people at the time. And he said this. He said, I had the happy privilege of analyzing these people, but he found no quality in them except persistence. Genius is attainable. It's attainable for everybody. Unless you have a cognitive disability, you are able to understand technology and you are able to attain a level of genius. So ultimately, the goal is to encourage innovation and invention by teaching the foundations of first, that technology is understandable and that genius is attainable. It's by these foundations that students will have confidence